big corporations, hospitals, public health, federal safety net, state and local governments, and of course, education. Now, all of those listed, I won't go into detail. I'll skip a few of those because that doesn't apply to us, mainly the big corporations and the state and local governments. So as it relates to us as individuals, this bill includes several elements aimed at pretty much helping people engage in the economy. So the first one is cash payments. There's an estimated total of 300 billion. Most individuals earning less than 75,000 can expect a one-time cash payment of 1,200. Married couples would each receive a check, and families would get an additional $500 per child. That means a family of four earning less than 150,000 can expect $3,400. The checks start to phase down after that and disappear completely for people making more than $99,000 individually and couples making more than $198,000. Okay. As it relates to the unemployment, this bill also makes major changes to unemployment assistance. So the increasing benefits and broadening who is eligible, states will still continue to pay unemployment to people who qualify. So the bill adds an additional $600 per week from the federal government on top of whatever base amount a worker receives from the state. So that boosted payment will last for 4 months. For example, if an out of work person is receiving national average of about $340 per week, under the new federal program, they would take home, the take home pay will be about $940 per week. So the legislation also adds 13 additional weeks of unemployment insurance. So people nearing the maximum number of weeks allowed by their state would get an extension. New filers would also be allowed to collect the benefits for the longer period. So for those of you that are unemployed, I do have, in the later slides, I do have the website to access that if you are trying to apply online. People that have gig workers and freelancers, typically self-employed people and freelancers and contractors can apply for unemployment, but this bill creates a new sort of temporary pandemic unemployment assistance program through the end of this year. So to help people who lose work as a direct result of the public health emergency. For those of you who got tax returns, some people have not filed their 2019 tax returns, but that's okay. The filing deadline has extended, of course, to July 15th. The IRS also says that people who have filed or plan to can still expect to receive a refund if they are owed one. For those with student loans, employers can provide up to $5,250 in tax-free student loan repayment benefits. So this means any employer could contribute to loan payments and workers wouldn't have to include that money as income, which is also a great benefit. Small businesses, for those that are operating small businesses, the main features for small businesses are emergency grants and forgivable loan programs for companies with 500 or fewer employees. There are also changes to rules for expenses and deductions meant to make it slightly easier for companies to keep their employees on payroll and stay open near term. Emergency grants, this provides $10 billion for grants up to $10,000 to provide emergency funds for small businesses to cover some of the immediate operating expenses or costs. Forgivable loans, there's a $350 billion allocated to Small Business Administration, can provide loans of up to $10 million per business. So the relief for existing loans at the bottom, there's a $17 billion cover 6 months of payments for small businesses already using SBA loans. I did some math and I looked at if the most you can get is 10 million and what they're giving out is 350 billion, I divided 350 billion by 10 million, that can only reach, if everybody got the maximum up to the 10 million, it would only touch 35,000 businesses. Now, how many businesses in the United States? A lot, right? So it's a lot of businesses. So I don't know. I just feel something fishy about that, you know, as far as that the up to amount. Depending on who apply, they may get, you know, it may be some underhand stuff under the table. I don't know. But I just feel like that's very few where the limit is pretty high, but who am I to say, what can and what can't happen? So I'm skipping a big business part that doesn't apply to us. As far as safety net, this is the second wave of funding for major food security programs. Child nutrition, there's a $8.8 billion to give schools more flexibility to provide meals for students. Food stamps have got also money, 15.5 billion is going to supplemental nutritional assistance programs, or otherwise known as SNAP. The money will cover unexpected costs for new applications to the program as a result of coronavirus. Food banks has a $450 million more for food banks and other food distribution programs and the like. And let me go. Let's see. Education. This bill includes relief for college students and graduates with outstanding federal student debt. So temporary student loan relief, all loan and interest payments will be deferred through September the 30th without penalty to the borrower for all federally owned student loans. Work-study programs, work-study funds that allow schools to turn unused work-study funds into what is known as supplemental grants and continue paying work-study wages while schools are suspended. So if you got students out there that are home from school, that is available to them as well. If students are forced to drop out, students who drop out of school as a result of the coronavirus wouldn't have the time away from school deducted from their lifetime. Limits on subsidized loan and Pell Grant eligibility. So those students who also not be asked to pay back any grants or other aid they've already received. So they pretty much got that waived. Other programs, there's a very long list of other areas receiving funding, including arts programs, universities, and other institutions. So I have a quiz for you guys. I want you to just have your pen and piece of paper. I want you to, I'm going to go over some different questions. This is about 6. And I want you to put whether you're safe or in a danger zone. So I'm going to go over these different ones. For a job, for each of the 6 areas, place a check mark on either do you have the danger zone or the safe box. For the job, you're in the danger zone if your job is in housing, finance, auto, retail, hospitality, services, manufacturing, airlines, or you are a low-wage worker or a new hire. Mark that you are in a safe zone if you have any other job other than what's listed. So my reasoning was this is one of the most important areas because losing your source of income can quickly derail, of course, your finances. Most experts say our economy hasn't hit bottom yet and that we should be prepared for more pain, quote unquote, more pain. That pain is likely to come at us at the form of layoffs. Layoffs are expected to reach, of course, it already has reached record levels in coming months, especially in the danger zone industries. Next, household income. If you are married, danger zone, you and your spouse work. You or your spouse work. So the logic behind this for me is that it may sound like I got it kind of backwards. You would want both people to work, but if both people are working just to make the ends meet, what happens if, both of them are no longer employed versus one kind of the breadwinner and one to kind of support on the back end. So if there are 2 people struggling to make the mortgage and pay the bills and one loses their job, there's nobody to help. But when only one spouse works and are able to maintain that lifestyle, the other spouse can jump in or lend them a hand by getting a second job, even if it's just temporary. So the logic is both households are working, both heads of households are working, and they're just making ends meet versus being in a safe zone where you only have one person working and they're able to support both the household, the bills and everything. And a spouse is more of this alternate if I'm able to help out if need be. So that's why I was getting at as far as the logic with, if both versus one. All right. Mark, if you are safe or in danger, if you have 0 to 5 months of living expenses in cash or investments. If you're in the safe zone, if you have 6+ months of living expenses in cash and investments. So the more cash you have set aside, the stronger your safety net. If you lose your job, you get sick, you have unexpected expenses. If you have less than 6 months of living expenses in cash, you're in danger zone. You should at least have at least 9 to 12 months, if not more. The more, the better. But we don't know how long this is going to take. We don't know how long the Corona beer is going to be here, right? People are, and the funny thing about this Corona beer situation, sales have went down for Corona beer. I don't know how sales have went down for a Corona beer company, but I guess it has an affiliation with just the name. So the next one, expenses. You are in the danger zone if your monthly expenses are high and can't be reduced. EA, the mortgage, car payment. You're in the safety zone if your monthly expenses are low and can be reduced. Entertainment, dining out, shopping. So if you're scraping by each month and most of your expenses are fixed, meaning you can't reduce them if you wanted to, you're in a danger zone. On the other hand, if you have money left over every month and if your expenses are variable, meaning you can reduce them if you need to, then you're in the safe zone. So a lot of times we subscribe to things that are usually a recurring subscription, a recurring expense. I have some steps that I'm going to go through later in the slides of how you can, I call it the perk system, and you're going to be able to decipher, you know, what category of each expense is for your budget. And at the end of this, I'll post in the group an Excel spreadsheet of all the income, household expenses, a different category of things that you have for your lifestyle. So I'll post that in the group. Next, debts versus loans. You're in a danger zone if you have a large amount of debt and or your interest rates are variable. You're in a safe zone if you have a small amount of debt and your interest rates are fixed. The logic behind this is if you have a lot of debt with a variable rate, you're in a danger zone. But if you have a little debt or have it locked in for a low long-term rate, you're in a much safer position. Next is your support network. I thought this was really important because a lot of us like to be independent and be to ourselves. You're in the danger zone if you have no family, friends nearby who can support you, who can provide support. You're in a safe zone if you have nearby family and friends who can provide support, childcare, housing. We don't know what may happen, right? So if you have people who can help you, if your car breaks down, if you need someone to watch your kids after school, if you need a place to stay while you get back on your feet, you're in a safe zone. If you don't have this kind of support network, you are much more vulnerable to being what is called that danger zone. I think that was a 6-4, the danger zone. So for those how to score and think about the quiz, there are 2 important points. First, just because you're in a danger zone on one or more of the questions that I provided, it doesn't mean you're going to be on the street. It just means that you have some serious potential problems that you need to recognize and address. Use your fear to kind of motivate you and not paralyze you, right? So determine what you need to do to move into the safe zone and definitely take action for the things before it hits. I know many of us didn't plan on, a virus outbreaking out and having us to be quarantined in our homes and having us to limit our mobility and movement outside of our own places. We couldn't prepare for that. Nobody would have thought of that. Second, if most of your check marks are in the safe zone, congratulations, you feel good about your situation. But don't be that smug person like, yeah, I got it all, I got it right. Everybody's situation is different. We all know that we go through things. We all know that, stuff happens, but it's your job. At some point, you have to take accountability and say, could I have prepared better for this? Yes, everybody could have prepared necessarily, not specifically for the coronavirus, but you could have did stuff well in advance to kind of prepare yourself. Spend some time building an even stronger foundation the next time, and then focus on how you can come out of this mess much better and much stronger, okay? So if survival is priority, I'm thinking when I say this, survival is priority, it's coming from if all hell broke loose, which is kind of now, right? So I have 2 different scenarios I'm gonna give you on these topics that I'm hearing about. You know, people, should they continue to pay off credit cards? Should they not? Should they continue to contribute to the 401k? Should they not? It's different scenarios. I'm gonna give you both. I won't just give you one scenario and that be it. So when it comes to saving for college, if you do not save for college, if you can't afford it right now, I strongly recommend you do not contribute to your kids' college savings plan until you have enough cash in your emergency fund. Right now is not the time to be putting cash away. It's maybe cash you need now. Again, cash is king at this present time. So I'd rather you have money in the bank that you can have access to immediately if you lose your job than to have that money tied up in a college savings account, right? The worst case is you need to tap into your emergency fund. Your kids don't have enough to pay for college. They can get a loan for college, or depending on how well they perform in school, they can get scholarships. If you need college and career help, I'm your guy. I can help you with the college and career aspect. I've been doing it for over 6 years, really great at it. But if you can't get a loan to pay the mortgage, I mean, what I'm saying is you can't get a loan to pay the mortgage, right? So the best case scenario is if you save cash and you don't need it. When things turn around in the economy, there's less of uncertainty. You can always take part of your savings and contribute it to that college account later on. So I'm thinking from a survival standpoint, what is the immediate need? Right now, people need to pay their most essential bills, and I'll go over what that is. Next category, should you contribute to your 401k? If you can afford to, for the most part, still contribute to your 401k if you can afford to, especially if your company is matching, right? Remember, your 401k plan is a long-term plan. The best way to build your wealth is to be consistent with your investing and letting your money compound over a long period of time. And I got this however big for a reason. However, if you can't afford to, don't contribute to your 401k. Remember, cash is king right now at this present time. If you lose your job, the only way you're going to survive is you have to have some cash to pay the bill. So I'd rather you have cash in a savings account than in your 401k. Here's why. Number one, you got quick access to your money. How quickly can you get money out of your savings account? Like now. You can get like now. So how quickly can you get money out of your 401k? So it's gonna take some time, right? It's gonna take a lot of time. So some 401ks offer what is called hardship withdrawals that allow you to borrow money from your account, but your 401k may not offer this option. So additionally, even if your employer does, they set the rules on eligibility, and the government sets a cap on how much you can take out. Plus, if they don't have what is called the hardship withdrawals, you may suffer not only a penalty, maybe you're not at the maturity age, so you may suffer, you suffer from getting hit with taxes on what you take out, of course, fees upon withdrawal, and you may have to pay that back with interest. So you have to think about, if I'm contributing to this 401k, what's the likelihood of me getting my money? Why is it, held up in this government product? So there'll be a later workshop where I'll walk you through the difference between a different 401k, 403b, 529 plan, the different types of insurance policies, the different types of insurance. I'll do that, not the next workshop, but the one afterwards, so I can break down what each one is, because I think that's really important. A lot of people what I'm seeing, they're signing up for term insurance policies, which has a expiration date, versus getting something that's maybe more permanent, throughout the time. So don't contribute to a 401k if you can't afford to. Out of the market, typically when you contribute to a 401k, the money is invested immediately. And if the market continues to decline, you could be jeopardizing your cash cushion. There are people right now losing a lot of money on their 401k and going back up because of the market is going up, going down, and it took another hit and it goes up. So it's uncontrollable. I don't, personally for me, I wouldn't put my money in places where there's a risk to it. I want guarantees. No matter how much, I want guarantees. I don't want to lose any money for work that I've worked hard for to put into. If you stop contributing to your 401k, you won't be missing out on, you won't be missing out on the tax advantages and your company matching contribution. Yes, these two benefits are very trivial. If you don't have enough cash in the bank to survive, if you lose your job, once the economy stabilizes and the job security returns, or once you have saved 12 months of living expenses in cash, you can easily start contributing again once you get back on your feet. This won't be, here forever, right? But when there's a time to get back to the way things were, you have a foreseeing knowledge going ahead of time, like, hey, I know how to prepare for this next time, even more so now, right? Next is just call or email for the 401k. You can call or email your human resources department and tell them that you want to stop contributing. They'll probably try to talk you out of it. Or if they don't, they may have you speak to a financial advisor from the plan's administrator. It may be Fidelity, it may be John Hancock, Vanguard. You know that when you've applied through the company matching or whatever program, 401k program, when you sign up on a job. So they talk about dollar cost averaging and the benefits of long-term investing, et cetera, which are all good and true, but you want to hold your ground and tell them that you want to stop contributing so that you can use that money for things that you do need that are immediate needs, right? So that's for that. Scenario 1 with credit cards, pay off your credit cards if you can afford to. Contact your credit card companies immediately. Right now, millions of people are worried about how they're going to pay their credit card bills this month. Many credit card companies are working with people who by doing the following. They are reducing payments and late fees, letting you skip 1 month payment without additional interest, temporary interest rate adjustments, applying for temporary increase in credit limits, reducing your minimum monthly payments. So these are some of the things that the lenders of these credit card companies are allowing you to do. But here's scenario 2. Do not pay off your credit cards if you can't afford to. If you can, just pay the minimum amount per month. And I know it would feel like it'd feel great to have that zero balance. And it might even seem like the safe thing to do, but it's not. So strangely, the safe thing is to keep your debt right where it is and take your cash and save it. Would you rather have no debt and no cash to pay rent and buy food, or would you rather have debt and some cash to survive? That's why you should not, get overzealous and try to pay down your debt right now. Under normal circumstances, these are not normal circumstances. Paying down your debt is a great strategy. And I know that from a credit perspective, paying down the debt is also a great strategy. But if it is to survive, we have to hold off on paying the bills for a second and focus on the immediate things that we're dealing with right now. If you lose your job, file for unemployment as soon as possible online. Make sure you have your information ready to file, such as your most recent pay stubs, employer's name, address, phone number, and your bank information. I know one of the websites is www.2.illinois.gov. I don't know if anybody out there know of any additional sites. If you can direct in the group or forward me and I can relay it to the whole group, additional websites that people can take advantage of to help with the unemployment, I would definitely love that resource from you. When it comes to surviving, being a priority, it's all about conservation, not the environment, but of your cash. So if you want to reduce your expenses and save a little more each month, use what is called the PERK system. That means postpone, eliminate, reduce, and keep. So the PERK system is easy, and most people that I work with have been able to reduce their expenses by several $100s per month in a matter of minutes. So the PERK system consists of just these 2 steps. Step 1 is to definitely list all your expenses individually and then add them together, including recurring monthly expenses, so such as your rent, as well as that occur less frequently, such as homeowners insurance, different things of that nature. So at the end, I'll post in the group a Excel spreadsheet of everything. Like when you put the numbers in, it's going to automatically calculate it at the top so that you guys don't have to add all the numbers. It'll automatically do it for you. That's the power of Excel, right? Excel. All right. So step 2, next to each expense, write either P for postpone, E for eliminate, R for reduce, or K for keep. So for the categories in postponing, for the P, these are expenses that you can put off for a period of time. For example, a house remodel project, vacation, or a new car purchase, right? Step 2, eliminate. These are expenses you can completely eliminate, such as your gym membership. And ain't nobody using no Planet Fitness, no LA Fitness right now. The best home workout is the home workout right now. So if you got rope and you know your yoga mat, you need to be working out at home. You don't need to be going to no gym, coughing up germs and absorbing other people's germs when you're touching the weights. Most times we sometimes forget to clean off the equipment even when we're at the gym. So you don't want to put yourself at risk. So again, eliminate such as a gym membership that you never use, maybe video streaming services you never watch, or subscriptions you've forgotten about. And at the end of this presentation, there's a free app you can download. They can cancel your subscriptions for you if you want. That's a premium to it, and it's a really dope app. Number 3, reduce. Any expense that you're willing to cut back on qualifies for reduce. So for example, if you order dinner every night, but you're open to cooking a few times a week, mark the expense reduce. I know many of us, we're not used to the being at home and cooking. I know that eating out is a luxury. It's actually back then we didn't used to eat out as much because we saw that eating out was actually more expensive and healthy food was cheaper back then because of our lifestyle. But now everything's convenient. People are eating out more and people are living really off fast food nowadays, which increases your need to eat food. When you have less nutritious foods, you're more likely to eat every 3 hours because you're taking in consumption of food that is very nutrient lost. It has no nutrients at all. So you feel full initially, and then you're hungry back every 3 to 4 hours. So now your expense of this $10.12 average per meal has just jumped up 3 to 4 times a day. Divide times that $30 average a day times 30 days, it's over $900 you're spending on food and you don't even know it, right? So, and also you're decreasing your health, which is going to cost you more in the long term for that. So definitely eat high nutrient dense foods. Of course, with the virus, when you have a bad health or reduced health, you're more susceptible to the virus, and it's like a breeding ground when you're not taking care of your body as much, right? So your body is acidic. So in this case, you're reducing the frequency of the expense. And last one, keep. Like this one, this is the one that's the most important. Many fixed expenses such as rent, insurance, food are necessary and should be marked as keep. That is your priority as it relates to everything that's going on. If you're unable to, keep those things. I got somebody, I want to keep my Comcast bill, my cable bill for $225 a month. I said, $225 a month for cable? I said, yeah. I said, you can watch cable right now, but when it comes to food, which one is more of a priority? Is the cable more of a priority, or is it mortgage? Is the food a priority, or is it that subscription to, whatever video streaming service, or the magazine service, or ebook service, or newspaper, right? Which one is much more of a priority right now? Use your tax refund wisely. I put this in here because I think that I'm seeing a lot of posts of people using their refund checks and their stimulus checks for stuff they don't need. It's a liability. They call it a tax refund for a reason. So you didn't hit the jackpot, you didn't win the lottery, you didn't discover hidden treasure. Your tax refund is money you work hard all year to earn. To many, view their tax refund as a found money, and as a result, they don't give it the same value they give a standard paycheck. So really, your tax refund is given to you when you overpay the government on taxes. When you overpay the government, that's what they give you a tax refund. So you overpaid, that's where the refund comes in. The goal, depending on your purpose, is to either zero out Or if you're in business, to try to get funding is to report your income or whatever you got for your business on the taxes to show that you have a tax return to get funding for your business. If you're overpaying your taxes, depending on your status, many of you may be W-2 employees, you may not being able to handle your administrative due process, right? So by you overpaying on your taxes, that's where they get the refund. They give you a refund because you've overpaid. So again, for those of you who have side hustles, definitely have a book for you. Reach me after this. I'll give you access to a book that you can take advantage of if you have a side hustle, so that you get more of those tax write-offs and receive more of your money from your paycheck, right? Bottom line, make a plan for your refund before you get it. Know exactly where each dollar is going to go. If you have if you wait until it's in your pocket, something more interesting but not as important will likely get your attention and suck up all the dollars. So what we're doing is getting the money and we're spending it so fast. We don't even know, what are you investing your money into? Is it of a liability or is it of a tool? Liabilities is just stuff, tools make an investment. A lot of the things that we forget to do in this last slide is invest in ourselves. And I think I messed up the slide. So when I say invest in yourselves, what I mean by the biggest investment is in you, because without you to do the particular task or to learn the new things, none of this would exist, right? So the investment has always been in yourself. And the way we can do that, we can take this time to learn new skills that we not have learned before. There are stories, Michelle mentioned to me that people are making more money than they did on their jobs now that this has happened. This is kind of like a wake-up call for a lot of people. So if you guys are not out there learning new skills to be more valuable, your knowledge is your investment. Without it, you'll constantly be doing the same thing over and over. We call that insanity, right? So use this time wisely to definitely invest in yourself. Nobody can do the work for you. They can bring you to work, but they can't make you do the work. So a lot of this what's going on, you have to grow with the times. You have to be able to explore different things that you may not have explored before. And it alerted me to say, okay, this is happening. I'm in business. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm self-employed, but the people that take up my services are affected. So what can I do to get ahead of it? So one of the strategies that I'm using to get ahead of it is I realize that in the next couple of months, people are going to be buying houses again. So how can I get in front of that to make sure that I'm well taken care of for myself? What can I do? So I bought into a loan signing agent system that'll teach me how to sign or walk customers who are buying homes into loan signing. That nets me between $75 to $300 per client. That's per hour. So I can work for 30 minutes or an hour, depending on the level of the documentation. And I can get paid from $75 to $300 for a loan signing. And there's going to be a lot of houses being bought, when this time is over. Right now, the housing market, the interest rates are at a very all-time low right now. So people are positioning themselves to take advantage of the market. The thing is, with lenders, for those of you who are kind of having some credit challenges where you want to take advantage of it, what they're potentially looking to do, I know Chase have done it, they've raised their requirements for as far as their credit requirements for who can apply for the home. So it's a 700 credit score you need to have in order to apply for their loan program. Who knows if other loan companies may follow suit, right? So this is the perfect time to really be looking at, what is your financial situation? What are some ways you can develop passive income? Right now, here's a passive income idea. A lot of you may or may not have cars, but if you do, you can list your car on Turo. Turo is a car sharing program. And I go into it on next week on the budgeting activity. But this is a way to receive passive income. If you know there are people out there that are essential, that need to work and do their job, and they need a car to drive, put your car on Turo, let them rent it out for maybe 20 of the 30 days, charge, you know, $20 to $25 a day. You can make income from just that one activity. So I just took what many of you see as a liability, which is your car, because you're the only one paying it. How about you leverage it by letting someone else borrow it, and also to leverage it, call your car insurance company to reduce your insurance premiums because you're not driving as much. This way it's going to reduce your fixed expenses. So those are just one of the few of many strategies that you can use. We're at 7:38. I got about 22 minutes for questions, and that leads you to the last slide of a thank you for listening to my presentation. I definitely know I got some questions, but also take advantage of the resources that are out there. And if you need to, if you got some immediate concerns, definitely reach out and we can kind of talk about it. Because I know some people may not admit it, but some people are going through some serious situations. There are people contemplating suicide, from what I've heard, and it's not good. And it's a place where we can all be, you know, frank and you know, be inclusive. And if this is the space to do it, then definitely say something, not just hold everything in and not have a care. That may be a resource out for you. You just have to open your mouth and say something. So thank you so much. Michelle, you back?
Class is in your hand. This is excellent information. So continue on, sir.
Thank you. Let me see that. Oh, man. Okay, so we got the questions.
Yeah, there's about 3 questions in your private chat.
Oh, okay. Let me go to it. Any help if student loan is already in default? So I'm not sure of the actions you can take right now, but the only one that comes to mind is the rehabilitation program. Everyone gets a one get out of jail free card. Usually when you default the first time on your student loans, you get one get out of jail free card. So you contact the company that has your loans. You look to make payments for 9 months, successful payments on time. And what they'll do is report the loan and take it out of default and put it back in good standing. That's specifically for the student loans. All right, I'm starting a series. Great information. Wow, who would not get a stimulus payment according to the CARES Act? So for individuals making more than 99,000 and couples making more than 198,000. Yeah. Let's see, who would not get us? I just answered that. Can you explain why we should not have money for? Can you explain why we should not have money for 401k? Why you shouldn't contribute? Carrie, you said. Are you saying contribute, why you shouldn't contribute, or why you should? I went over 2 scenarios of when you would and when you wouldn't. If it's a survival sort of thing and you need the cash, I say reduce or eliminate contributing to it altogether, because you need that to pay bills, to, you know, keep the lights on, to pay for food, everyday items that you need to survive. Those are immediate essentials, right? If you can afford it, you can just continue to contribute to your 401k, especially if your employer is matching and giving that free money by matching that program. Okay, answered that. Is it safe to get a secure credit card to rebuild your credit? Absolutely. So usually people who seek secure credit cards are usually those with no credit history or those that are recovering from financial hardship. So meaning they have collections, they have bankruptcies, late payments and their credit is not as good. So a secure credit card would definitely help in the situation as far as rebuilding. And also a secure credit card, Halima, is when you put up you put up the money, which is the security. You put up the money. Let's say it's $500. That $500 becomes the new credit limit. Once you've used the secure credit card, if you choose to close out the account, what they'll do is give you the money, the deposit back that you put in. If you've paid the balance in full. If you leave a balance on it, they'll take the difference of what the balance is and give you the rest back from your deposit. Any help if contact one coming? Okay, Ranger, got the answer. Would it be a good idea to reduce the auto insurance coverage to the state minimum? Depends on what your situation is. So if you want to reduce it just to save more money, that's one good method. If you want to do it to reduce your coverage, maybe some of you have vehicles that are very high premium intensive vehicles, luxury vehicles. This could be one way to or strategy to reduce some of those fixed expenses. Usually, what I'm seeing as an average with the clients that I see, a lot of them live above their means. So this would definitely help in reducing some of those fixed expenses, especially with the opportunity now. What I will advise though is if you are definitely taking care of your credit, there are ways to leverage your credit. If people are thinking about choosing to get refinancing, I talked about this in the first workshop. If you're looking to refinance and get a lower mortgage rate, that would be maybe a beneficial look to it. It just depends on how many years you've been in the mortgage versus refinancing and restarting it all over again, but with a lower interest rate and payment. So it all depends on where your positioning is and where you are in the mortgage for that to happen. What college students? I don't know what that means. Would it be a good idea to reduce the? Okay, we got this. If you're retired, have money sitting for 3, should I move some out and put it in savings? I can't advise that. I'm not. Where's the disclaimer picture that usually comes up? If I'm thinking about a 4-3, if I got it in a 401k or a 4-3. The closest thing to mind that I would use to transfer the money into an account would be what is called a rollover into what is called an annuity, right? So an annuity is a life insurance policy, unlike a regular insurance policy that pays out to your heirs when you die. An annuity is one that pays you an income while you're living. And there are different types of annuities and so forth. So not next week, but the week after, I'll talk about annuities. I'll talk about what's the difference between term versus return of premium term, IUL versus variable universal life insurance policy. I'll go into the different ones so that people can position themselves to be well informed and not sit out here with insurance producers that are not educating you about the products that you're buying. I've gotten too many clients that have term policies and they're thinking it's permanent and it only lasts for 20, 30 years. And in my mind, you're going to be living longer than that 30 years. So I am licensed in insurance and health insurance, but I'll be able to provide some education 2 weeks from now on that specific topic. And I'll go into the details. What are the pros and cons of 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, self-directed IRAs, traditional IRAs? I'll go into the pros and cons of each product so that you're well informed on what it is you're reading and looking at. Any news on getting rent or mortgage deferred? So right now, I think the government said that they cannot evict you as it stands. No don't quote me on this, but you can't, landlords can't put you out and your home can't be foreclosed on. Right now during this time, I have to get the exact date. I don't know if I put it in the slide, but I can definitely provide it in the group on what the government is saying. Are companies offering lower rates for everyone, or is it for those who have a good payment history? You don't know. I don't know. I think that what would be advantageous for them is to completely just not tell you no, right? They don't want to lose you as a client. They want to have something that they're getting versus not having anything at all, right? So it would be very advantageous in their best benefit to work with you and that you don't default, because they'll really be out of luck if they really decline it. I know you mentioned credit cards over 2 years not to close, but if you cannot afford it and want to close, can I just take the loss in points? Balance is 150, include to pay this off. We would have to see your credit report. Definitely want to look at the situation and make sure, you know, what your fixed expenses are. I would say before you close it out, sit with me to, you know, have an online webinar, sit with me, and we can go over all your finances and maybe we can re-engineer some of the things that you have going out. I'm sure I can find something to reduce and use the perk system with that. Okay, that's the same one. Paying on credit cards, which is better, paying low balance off or card with higher interest rate? I would say if you can get the closest one, the lowest one off first, that's great. It depends on the balance and the interest rate, right? So I would have to definitely see the different cards to really give you an accurate depiction, Sharon, Ms. Moore, on what to really do. So it all depends on the numbers. So we have to do the exercise I did in Salem a couple of months ago, where I went down the credit card. When you start with 5,000, you have a 21% interest rate, and this is what you pay out over like 44 years if you pay just the minimum and didn't increase it at all. So I have to look at your numbers and really give that. Would you say wait to buy a home or buy now? If you're in a position to do so, definitely take advantage of it, but also understand what the pros and cons of owning a home is, what the pros and cons of staying in a rental. I can't tell you what to do with your life. I think that if it's important to you, if it's something you want to take on, if you want to be a homeowner, if you want to eventually pay off the mortgage, then and not have to worry about who's going to increase the rent, I say take advantage of it right now while it's still going on. Again, in the next workshop, I'll go over the situation. This is going to be a dope workshop for next week. I'm going to be going into the forensic budgeting on how I help the client. They had 10,000. It was negative 10,000 a year in expenses living through their credit card, and I got them $18,000 back the following year. So I'll show you what I did with that. When paying on credit cards, which is better? Okay, we answered that. How many credit cards are too many with an open balance? You can never have too many credit cards. The thing is, you take care of the cards that you do have. I think that if you definitely below the balance and take care of the cards, you have no problem. Over time, what really is the most important category, or the second most important category, is your history, your age of credit history. So the longer you keep those accounts open, they are very advantageous. And let's say you got 10 credit cards with 10 years apiece. If you lose one of those cards and they close, it won't put a bigger dent in your history as if you had very few and you had one is 15 years and one is 1 year, and the averages are just different. So it just do you have a list of other companies out there besides Turo that I can make passive income? I can. I'm sure I can come up with a list, Lean. Just inbox me, and we'll be able to put it together. You have a list, okay? Would you be eligible for stimulus money if you have a business but no employees? Yes. YouTube students shared that they tried to cancel their gym membership, but the gym wouldn't cancel, and the students want to know what they can do to get out of the contract. If you are paying with a credit card, just get a new credit card. Call your bank to say, hey, I want to cancel the subscription. And those would be the I guess, two most really good ways, because they can't, they can't just hold you. I mean, you got a contract, but yes, but these are different times right now. They shouldn't be charging you anyway because their gym's not open to work out in.
Right.
So if you explain it to them, I'm sure they'd be able to, much obliged. Why were college age students excluded from receiving stimulus funds? I'm not sure. Memory L. Duncan? I'm not sure. Where did you hear that at? I'd be curious to know where did you hear that at? Available to send money if you have a business, but I'm employed from YouTube. Did that. How do we schedule a meeting? So let me see. Hold on. Let me. I have my link. There it is. Okay. So, ooh. There we go. Okay. I'm about to post this link in the group. Where's the chat? Okay. So to everyone, it is Nate Fox. Dennis Jackson. Which one? Okay. That is the, let me copy it. This is the link to schedule an appointment. I just posted it. Let me see. Let me go back to jail. Okay. So why were college? Okay. I attempted to reduce my 9% auto loan. The company was only willing to add 2 payments to the end of the loan. Do I have any other options to lower my payments? That would be a conversation between you and the lender. I would, I'm thinking you're talking about car loan, auto loan. So that, yeah, that'll be a, because the contract is already pretty much set in stone when you initially bought the vehicle. So for them to, for the car dealership to go back on its promise to the lender that financed it, I don't think they're in a power position to do that, other than the financing company that you got the car loan from that you're making payments to. They would probably be the only ones to work with you to negotiate. But as far as the car insurance, there's a way to reduce that by lowering your premiums by contacting them saying you're not driving as much. That would be the strategy I would employ. Would you suggest to stay in a townhome or going to a rental home? I've been working on my credit since last year for a home, but I know I will have enough credit for the rental home. I think it all comes down to if you think about a townhome, are you looking to rent or own it? That's you didn't really specify. Rent.
You're really
Rent or own it. So, no, please. I'm not sure if you just can see that chat. 7 more minutes. I'm thinking. Okay, I read that. I filed my second bill with college student on 2019 taxes, and I did not receive any stimulus funds for them. I only received the standard $1,200. I would have to. I don't know. I would have to consult with my tax professional to answer that. I'm not.
AJ, can I interject? The stimulus package stated that children that qualify for the 500 additional are 16 and under. So children 17 and over, unfortunately, are not a part of the stimulus package.
Okay.
And so that was one of the criteria that was in that package, that if a child is under 16 and under, then you get $500 additional dollars. 17 and up, there's no credit for them.
Okay, Jill is telling me to share the link to the students. So I'm going to type it here where the thank you is. This is the, let me see, this is the link. Let me delete everything else.
AJ, if you could verbally share the link
Yeah,
for our
sure.
YouTube students.
So
We have a lot of people on
yeah,
YouTube that can't see the
okay.
chat.
So the link, excuse me, the link is, I'm gonna repeat it a couple of times because it's sort of long, but it's not. It's meetfox.com, MEET fox.com /EN /E /Anterio Jackson hyphen. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack. I can't go to the link. All right. If you can't remember, just text me or call me at 312-650-9820. That's 312-650-9820. Again, that's 312-650-9820. And I can forward you the link once you text me. That'd be so much easier instead of me trying to remember to tell you what this is and having to repeat it over 72 times. So 312-650-9820. When should you stop putting or filing your college student on your taxes? Can somebody answer that? Because that's a personal thing. I can't tell people what to do with their children.
I think that's something to be consulted with the tax professional.
Yeah,
Because
I have a tax professional that I can lend you all to, that I can have you go to, and she'll definitely answer those questions. Be careful putting two payments on the back end. I did some years ago, and they ballooned my payment interest still on it. I had to pay a little over $1,000 just last payment instead of my normal payment amount. Yeah. For investment property, do you have regular home insurance or landlord insurance? Is a landlord policy cheaper? Kendall. I'm not equipped for that question either. Jill, you got any inquiries on Kendall's question for investment property and landlord insurance? 7:57 p.m. in the group chat.
I would just probably say to consult with the actual insurance broker, because they can best advise you based on what you need coverage for. So you don't want to be underinsured if you have tenants. So you need to make sure that your policy covers all liability that you would have. So that would be something you would have to discuss with your insurance broker, Allstate, State Farm, Country Financial, whoever you're going through. They would direct you in the right direction. And that goes for auto insurance as well.
Correct. Thank you, Joe.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the last question that we had, AJ.
Yes, it was. Michelle, can you close us out? I don't know what time it is. I can't see. Okay. I can't see. Okay, it's 8. Okay.
I pray that you all have been blessed tonight. I know I received a lot of great information, and thank you so much, AJ. We're looking forward to next week. Also, if you have additional questions, AJ is always on our Salem Facebook page. We will send you that information if you're not a part of the Salem Personal Growth page. He shares so many wonderful, so much wonderful information, and is always available to answer questions that you should have. And so that's another good resource to always go on that page. And again, we love you all, praying for you all. And so we're going to close out in prayer. Again, members of Salem, we ask that you would continue to keep Deacon Mel's family in prayer. We lost a great man today, but we know that he has earned his wings and is with the Lord. So let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for AJ. Thank you for all of the wisdom that you've given him to bless us, God. I pray, Father, that many things that were shared tonight will be a blessing and will be applied in the lives of your people. We pray for your continued covering over every family. We pray for continued blessings upon each family, God. Again, we pray for Deacon Mel's family, God, that you will comfort and strengthen them in their time of bereavement, and for the Salem family who has lost a great giant. And so, Father, we ask that you will continue to move and to that in these weeks to come that we'll be more financially sound than we were when we started the class, God. We thank you again for AJ. It's in the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Mhm.
Good night,
Amen.
everybody.
Amen. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.